Alright there guys, this is Paul Mills, also known as Binarai, and I'm here with David Owen Morris, also known as BigPiggy, and we're here to answer some of the questions that you've asked in regards to a developer update from the tweets. So we're going to read some of the questions that were asked, and we'll see where we go from there. So how are you, Piggy?
Oh, good. It's bright and early morning here in Malaysia.
What time is it?
9 in the morning.
9 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like almost 2 here, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with Mr. Apocalypse, and he says, is Raptoreum untraceable and private?
Well, I mean, it depends what he's comparing it to. If we're comparing it to Bitcoin, yeah, it's untraceable and private in the same way. If we're comparing it to something like R or Monero, then no.
So are you saying like in...
We do have a coin join function in, but I mean, that's not really beyond what's on Bitcoin now in the latest couple of releases with Taproot.
Yeah.
So it's basically in the same sense that Bitcoin is. And Bitcoin, if you don't reuse addresses, is still very much private and untraceable.
All right. Yeah. All right, guys, next question is from Pepe, who says, I'd like to know what futures contracts brings to real life and Raptoreum's blockchain in general.
That's a little bit of a tricky question because we're not really using contracts for futures. We're using Bitcoin code-based time locks for them. And what it means is that you'll be able to send a transaction now, but it won't unlock and be spendable and usable at the other end until the time that you define. That can be useful for miners who want to sell some coins now but don't want to push the market down. It can be useful for stuff like quest completions in-game, where something will unlock a certain reward for later. It can be useful for, but it's immediately verifiable on chain that this has already happened. It can be used for all kinds of things. If we're taking it a step further, and for example, let's say someone tokenizes an asset on the RTM blockchain, it could be delivery at a later date of that asset, which could really be anything.
Yeah. Okay, next question is from LocoBits, and he says, I would like to know if the RPG MMO game is still standing and if the characters would be NFT tradable. I would like Raptoreum to be useful.
I mean, the game is still in development. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, it's always been a long process. We expect it to take 18 to 24 months from here before there's going to be much of anything out.
And all the assets tradable?
Characters as tradable, I don't think there are any plans for that at the moment. Items, most definitely. There are all kinds of plans for that. The Smith has a laser scanner for basically scanning real-world objects, so you can take them into the game with you. And these will most definitely be tradable, both in-game and quite possibly also on a marketplace linked to our vendor platform once we get that far.
Cool. Okay, we have the next question from Raptoreum at Please Call My Dad. How about creating your character by combining different NFTs to get the look you want?
I assume he's talking about in the game.
Yeah, he's talking about in the game. So different NFTs, different clothes. I think it's
if it's clothes and that type of items, probably yes. But I mean the base character, not yet. No.
Yeah.
That would be for the next iteration of it.
I mean, initially they were doing knives and things like that, weren't they?
Yeah.
For the game.
Knives, tools, hammers, mining tools, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, we have the next one from Think Locally, who says, MMO game with NFT items, how is it developing? I think we've just touched on that.
Yeah.
Number 2 is what we are looking for, futures with some explanation for newbies. We do have an update post coming out about futures and all the use cases that are surrounding it. It's all ready to throw out. We're just literally waiting on the code to reach the mainnet until that'll go out. But we might actually send it out a little bit before so people can understand about futures and what it means. But if Piggy wants to touch on it, you can give him a bit of an insight.
I mean, an explanation of it, it's basically so you can take coins or at a later date assets, like tokens, the RTM later equivalent to ERC tokens, and send them now, but they can't be spent until a later time.
So
this could be.
So I suppose it's like a collateralized direct debit, or it is like
sort of.
Or you could use you could use it as like a liquidity lock for a team who has a project on the Raptoreum chain.
Yeah. For example, if you want to fund somebody who's building something, you don't want to give them all the money now, but you want to show that the money is there and is available, and that if they do keep building, it will be released in tranches. You can send all of it today.
Yeah.
But it won't be released until end of the month for the next whatever amount of time you've funded the project for.
Okay, so and what are the parameters for activating a future? Can it be done by block height and timestamp, or is it one or the other? Or
we've got both.
Both, yeah. So you can select one or the other, yeah, or whichever comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
One or the other. If you set both to negative, it's going to lock the transaction indefinitely. That's deliberate, so use with care. Basically, because we will be using it for something else as well. This transaction type, we're not going to talk about it until it's quite ready. Yeah.
Cool. What are your DApp ideas?
Well, there are a million different things that you can do as DApps. It could be anything from prediction markets to monetized Farmville, to anything really, almost anything where it's run centrally at the moment. Split it up, get it out, running across the chain. the sky's the limit. I mean, simple prediction markets, stuff along the lines of binary options, Flappy Bird, but monetize it if you start getting to the really absurd levels. The sky is really the limit, particularly because we've got it open for Java, Python, R to start with, possibly adding more languages. Might even be able to get C# in there in the long run, but that's going to take quite some time before we're there. Yeah.
All right. Then he says a quick brief from Blockchain Futurist. Well, we actually sent one of our guys, Jay, to Blockchain Futurist. He was there on his own, and he was there primarily on a contact grabbing session. So we got some nice juicy contacts from that, and we've been speaking with some of those teams. So that's pretty much the update from that. Okay, we have the next question from B3PB1B_MO3RA. We need more specifics. The roadmap should have checkpoints with specific dates. Then the community will be able to track the results.
Just no, that's not going to happen. We're in a situation where basically most of the team aren't able to work full time on the project. Developers have a life as well. So no, this is not going to happen. We're not going to make a whole bunch of promises that we can't keep. Couldn't care less what he thinks about this. We're just not going to go down the road of empty this and that for the sake of some dates on a piece of paper. If 2020 and 2021 showed anything, it was that even the best laid of plans can get utterly fucked up. And we're not going to spend time justifying why that's happened. We're just not going to make those empty promises.
Okay, next one's from Bureau. I can't read French, Piggy. Can you read that?
Quels sont les atouts de Raptoreum face à la concurrence? I need to Google Translate this. Just a second. Actually, let me Google Translate all three of his questions while we're at it. 4. Whoops. Okay, let's see what he's got to say. What are the strengths of Raptoreum against the competition? Well, we've got an awful lot of good things going on. I mean, we are CPU proof of work, which means we are more or less accessible to everybody. Sure, people who have access to, for example, data center off our CPU cycles may be able to mine a bit more. But I mean, traditional CPU botnets, they are pretty close to being a thing of the past. Most of what comes across as actual botnets are things like Amazon and AWS being exploited. How do programmers perceive code? A bargain or an extra code? I am not sure that that's translated correctly.
Does he mean on how they're rewarded or what? Is that what that means?
Percovient is something like perceive or understand.
Oh, what is their knowledge of the code?
It could be.
We're going to look so stupid in front of the French.
Yeah, well, it's je parle un petit français, and that's about it. I mean, we've got some very skilled people working on the project, who have extremely high levels of understanding of C, C++. Tree works in AI. Jamie is a flight software engineer, etc. So, I mean, they most definitely understand the code they're working with, and we have made an awful lot of tweaks to our baseline code, which we're continuing on. Marketing. Okay. Is marketing taken into account, and how will you promote the future of Raptoreum again in the face of competition? Okay. We haven't really started marketing other than basically raising awareness as of yet. One of our main products, assets, needs to be out first before we are very comfortable having marketing go full hammer. That is, however, next on the table for development. We will be marketing very aggressively smaller businesses with the vendor platform I discussed in interviews with Seth Estrada a few years ago. We are going to have to redo that, but we're more or less ready to roll it at the same time as assets hit the testnet. Anti-cryptos and new regulations. New regulations are never a good and positive thing, but when you've got a space like Web3, which is basically a scam, I haven't seen any legitimate projects in Web3, none. It's all a DeFi rip-off, one way or the other. Then you're bound to get horrible new regulation in. The same as with the ICO era. You would have thought that some of these people would have learned from that initial round of mess, but unfortunately it looks to me like they haven't really learned anything from it. So yeah, I think we can expect more negative regulation, and the more negative regulation we get in, the harder it's going to be for anybody to base any projects in the US, the EU in particular. The rest of the world is still going to be pretty free because most of the rest of the world doesn't have the disgusting double standards that EU and US politicians put out on display, where they talk about freedom and then kill it the second it costs a few idiots their money. But yeah. Good.
Okay.
What's up next?
From Eric Draven. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
21 billion.
Is that the answer?
Yes.
Okay. Gustavo Vinas, can you read that? Come on, I thought you're good with that language.
Buenas tardes, por H. Gustavo de Argentina. Okay, it means hello, and I'm Gustavo from Argentina. ¿Cómo viven con la página nueva?
Is that the guy with the mining pool?
I do believe so.
With the comparisons.
It could be. Let me just run this through Translate to check it. New web page, wallet for Android, estimated date for futures, and important news. The web page, we had to switch developers on it in midstream. The guy who was working on it initially disappeared on us. I don't know why. He stopped communicating. So we've switched developers in midstream and expect to have something within the next 4 to 6 weeks. But if that's going to be completed or if it's going to be an initial demo site, I'm not sure of yet. News about the Android wallet. There may be an Android wallet coming with the next wave of testnet. We've had some reliability issues with one of the developers who's been contracted in for some work for us. It really depends on if he plans on delivering or not. ETA on futures. We have a release candidate on GitHub now. A release candidate means basically it's between testnet and mainnet. It's going through a couple of minor bug fixes, particularly with Qt. Once those bug fixes are done, we will be releasing it. So that is very soon. Other important news. Well, yeah, a lot. We've got new developers on the team. Very skilled people. And this is going to help speed things up drastically.
Okay, so the next questions are from Spanish Ronin. How long do smart contracts take after futures and assets?
After futures and assets, smart contracts aren't actually the next step. The next step after futures and assets is something called a business pool, or we're going to call it a business pool, basically. This is so you can't try to gas game contracts like you can on ETH. Basically, it will, instead of it being linked directly to whatever block transactions get into, and that one master or smart node getting paid an absurd amount of money, it's going to take and collect fees from 24 hours and then redistribute them to the list or something along those lines. Because otherwise, someone who has, let's say, a string of 5 to 10 nodes on the chain, there is a very good chance that they will be able to game it. Meaning they would send a transaction right before their nodes are up next in the reward cycle, and because they're sending it right before one of their nodes is next in the reward cycle, there's a high percentage chance that they essentially get to send it for free. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, would programming smart contracts in Python or Java make their integration in Web3 easier?
We don't want to integrate in Web3. Web3 is a scam as far as this project is concerned. It's garbage.
What's the definition of Web3?
Yeah, there isn't one. But I mean, if you look at what DeFi has done to it with continual exploits, things written in programming languages that are still in beta, centralized junk that basically stops everything from functioning when AWS goes down. It's just not what crypto is supposed to be about. We're not going to be the fastest. We're not going to be the absurdly highest number of transactions per second chain, but we will keep ticking on through regardless of if AWS is up or not, or regardless of if most of the larger internet switches are up or not. It's that simple, really.
Okay, message from Raptonodes. Utility value. What projects are we looking to bring into Raptoreum to help drive development and adoption?
We're going to focus mainly on the vendor platform. That doesn't necessarily have to be crypto related at all. We're going to look at getting some real businesses in and them being able to make use of actual blockchain without it costing them anything. They can play, they can get their feet wet without having to spend a ton of money or setting up complicated wallets, etc. So they can, for example, issue traceability tokens for their products with a simple credit card.
Okay, next question is from slotte.eth. What are the main unexpected development challenges you are currently facing and how are you tackling them? It's a classic question, that is.
Yeah, but I mean, a couple of things have shown up. I mean, for example, the business pool reward mechanism reward distribution mechanism that we're going to put on after assets is not something we had in the initial architecture for the project, but we've got a reasonable solution for it. We've got a setup where basically a quorum of smart nodes handles the rewards distribution, making certain that it can't really be gamed or exploited. Apart from that, unexpected development challenges have been contractor not delivering per contract, well as real life basically impacting the amount of time that people have available to work on the project and to contribute. That's the biggest development challenge. Good.
All right, guys, next question is from Leo Lukta, who says, how many devs, what are they working on? Full-time, part-time, or work together on own parts? How to make sure code meets quality standards? How do you try to prevent major bugs to arise from changes?
Well, that's everybody's part-time, and I mean, how many people are we now? Ooh, 7 or 8 part-timers at the moment. Major bugs from changes, that's easy enough. I mean, things get first tested on reg test, then they get tested on private devnet. After the devnet, they get slowly included into if they touch upon consensus, they go on a test net, and we try to stress it one way or the other. For example, like with futures transactions, several million of those went through the last test net. And yeah, that's it basically. And we've got a couple of people who are very good at finding bugs and holes, myself included, who go over everything as it comes in. Yeah.
Okay, next question is from Raptoreum Bob, who says, updates on the highlighted areas of the late game progress. Well, we've touched that. Website 2 progress, we've touched on that. Overall roadmap progress, so we've touched on that we're close to a futures release. When's the next badass bit knife?
I don't know. I'm not the smith.
Yeah, you'll have to speak with the smith about that. Crypto smith.
That's a question for the smith. What do we have next?
Al Casu says, when moon? I mean, it's a genuine question.
Yeah. Okay. THOON is the answer.
Thun. Cardano Maxi says, when smart contracts, when ledger support?
Well, smart contracts, once we get there, after assets and the business pool.
There we go.
When ledger support, not really a priority item until we have features development more or less done. And if you look at basically how they've been handling their data security, I wouldn't trust Ledger or Trezor with anything. There they have leaked customer lists. I know of 2 people in Singapore and in KL who faced armed home invasions because of their junk security, bad handling of basically not just bad handling, disgusting handling of customer data. There is no good reason for a crypto firm to be storing customer data available online. None. It's inexcusable. So I don't think we will actually be adding Ledger support or Trezor support. And I couldn't care less about them being in a leading position on the hardware wallet market. There are other options like BitPiggy, where basically you enter your own seed phrase and then scroll through addresses, etc., and it's fully secure.
Is there going to be a burn to reduce the number of coins to increase the value?
Projects who are desperate enough to burn coins to try to increase the value aren't genuine projects, and essentially it debases and devalues whatever value is there. No, there isn't.
Okay, and the last question on the first list is, when smart contracts coming, but we're not going to say a date on any of that. Okay,
but I can answer it. It's going to be coming after assets and the business pool. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what's next.
We've got a message from Arkema Community. What is the exchange rate for RTM for £3 of bratwurst, and what market can we make this exchange at? I think this is from Big Slim from Ark.
£3 of bratwurst.
Yeah.
Real handcrafted German bratwurst.
Yeah, the genuine stuff.
The genuine stuff. I don't know. I'm not German. No clue.
Okay, so Cryptorian says the project's still alive, just owing to holders what believe in miracles.
What?
I think it's just being salty.
Yeah.
Fargo says, will the division of rewards, smart nodes and miners in brackets, change in the future? And if so, who decides and how will it be done? Also, a bit
we
like
don't-
Fero's recent change.
We don't have any plans for anything like that. As far as what we can see now, the current rewards model is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. There is really no need for that. It's locking up collateral at a rather impressive rate. And as soon as we have the next the next update out, nodes are going to start getting rewards based on on-chain usage, apart from their fixed percentage. That means the node holders can't get away with a basically passive do-nothing position like they do on quite a few other projects. If you look at, for example, Dash, it's turned into an incestuous nest of indecision with masternode owners basically trying to pull one over on each other continually because all they do is budget voting. They don't, the budget voting doesn't have and usage of the chain doesn't have a direct impact on them. In our case, that's very different. The more transactions, futures, assets, contracts, etc., go through the chain, the more the node holders get rewarded. And that should encourage them to become a lot more active, basically from the beginning of the next release and the activation of those features, which really makes us unique. I haven't seen any other projects approaching this in remotely similar fashion. Passivity is death, basically, one way or the other, because, I mean, you might as well just buy gold and stick it in your vault and wait for it to appreciate. Gold, silver, similar. Otherwise, there's no need to be in crypto if you can just sit and generate passive income from it without participating.
All right. Santiago Rodriguez wants to know, when comes the pumps?
When comes the pumps?
Yeah.
He's asking for them. He can go and ask some investors or similar when they plan on pumping, but I don't think much of anything is going to be pumping, particularly until we see some sort of genuine market reversal. Overall, I don't know. I expect us to see some increase in action with futures, and I expect us to see some increase with assets and the vendor platform. And then from there, it's going to depend on how much we can grow things. There will also be a bump once we do get contracts out. But yeah. That's what I expect. That's what would be fundamentals driven. But I mean, I'm not anybody's financial advisor, but that's sort of what common sense would dictate.
Okay, Santi wants to know, when are we going to see something of everything that you keep saying? We are close or soon. Not saying that it's easy to build, but you know what I mean. You can't be successful with just promises.
No, but I mean, we've got one set very close to there. We've got more developers in. We've got, someone who
We're
has,
not hanging around. We're
yeah,
doing stuff.
yeah, stuff is happening. It's not happening as fast as we'd like, but that is what it is at the moment. If there's one thing we would have liked were different this year, the whole Ukraine situation and the massive sell-off it caused. We had roughly 25% former SSN countries as users, and it had a disproportionately large effect on those users, the whole Ukraine situation. And once that resolves, I expect that we will see most of those users back, one way or the other, if not even more, and we'll take it from there.
Cool. Crypto Dulls says still mining the hell out of it for almost a full year. That's nice, bro.
Yeah, that is nice. Thank you for the support, man.
Yeah, thanks for supporting the network, bro. Little Pincher says, what is the obsession with the woolly kittens on the RTM Discord? Woolly kittens? Woolly? I haven't seen that many woolly kittens, have you?
I don't know. I think that's better asked one of the moderators.
Woolly kittens? I mean, probably the Raptor-chan you see a lot of, but I'm not sure about woolly kittens.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Benjamin M wants to know, where is the Lambo? Where is it?
Parked.
Is it parked? Is it? Yeah. You're just outside.
Yeah. No. Back of my dad's barn.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
the sexiest 1930s tractor I own.
So Ben, it's there if you want to go and test drive the tractor. Okay, we have Mohammed who says, how long will current reward rate in inodes processing? How long will current reward rate in inodes processing? Is there halving like Bitcoin? Well, there's no halving, it's like smooth emissions curve.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from going from memory, it's mid 2023, mid or late 2023, we start basically slowly decreasing block rewards every month, more or less every month, every full moon cycle, just to make it really difficult if somebody's trying to use it to plan anything.
All right, from Sherlock Holmes, when are you going to update the page, the GitHub, the Android wallet, hire Java Python developers, the mainnet, integrate applications and games within the blockchain? Did I go too far? Question mark.
We're not going to be hiring Java and Python developers. We already have some very skilled ones on the team. We're going to give them a framework they can work with. What they do with what's available on the chain within the parameters we set once we get there is up to them. We're not going to hire anybody for it. We might do a couple of proof of concept apps, but that's it.
At the end of the day, we're here to provide the tools for the world's developers to develop on chain.
I mean, if we were to basically get heavily involved with dApp development, that would remove an awful lot of legitimacy from the project. Yeah. It's like we provide the rails, somebody else builds the trains. Let's see, what else was there in that question?
The GitHub. Apparently, there's not enough updates, but there'll be something on there shortly.
If he's not seeing any updates, he should try and look at the development branch instead.
Well, there is that, and also he could join the Discord and see the development channel as well in real time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all on GitHub. It's just switch the branch. Switch the branch to develop, and it's a lot more active. Yeah, the main branch is not for every little update. There's not really much else to say about that.
Okay, the main net will be obviously the futures with the new wallet coming up. We have to integrate applications and games within the blockchain. Well, we'll get to that stage when we've got assets and smart contracts and other things like that. People can integrate with the chain right now in terms of basic blockchain functionality. But for more advanced setups, then it'll obviously be with smart contracts and assets. Okay.
Absolutely.
Corner Bits says, "What's our long-term goal? What does the future hold for RTM?"
Well, that's.
Well, I suppose
yeah, that's a very big question.
Well, I suppose it's to be the go-to blockchain for the majority of developers and the majority of traditional businesses in the world to transition over to. We aim to be the.
I mean, we want to provide a gateway for traditional business to make, or not really so much traditional businesses, smaller businesses to make use of blockchain and to leverage blockchain, and to do so in an easy to understand and easy to integrate manner. And we believe we've got a fairly unique formula for that with our vendor platform. On the whole gaming side of things, that's really a bit more up to what the users want to do with it. We want to be basically the most reliable chain out there, not the fastest, not the most scalable, not the most this and that, but the most reliable, meaning no 51% attacks. Doesn't matter if AWS goes down, doesn't matter if one of the major internet switches in London or in Le Havre in France blows up, or hasn't been maintained or paid the power bill or whatever it is, given how uncertain everything is at the moment. But we'll still be ticking over. And none of these supposed super chains can do that, which is, I mean, it's ambitious, but it's a lot more of an attainable goal. I mean, I could talk for ages about this, but
yeah, you can if you like. We're 52 minutes in already. Well, the last question is from Benjix, who says, "When salty stonks."
When salty stonks.
Yeah.
Don't know. That sounds like that's going to be up to a DApp developer once we have the framework for that out. It's not something the team is going to start touch with the 10-foot pole.
Okay. Is there any final words you would like to say to the community about Raptoreum and what you've been working on and what the developers are doing and anything like that?
I mean, right now the development team are going over the release candidate with a fine-toothed comb and trying to get rid of any possible bugs. There are a couple of minor issues with the Qt wallet. The Demon and Clive wallet are 100% rock solid. The Qt wallet is having a couple of minor issues rectified, and yeah, as soon as that's done, it'll be out on mainnet, which for once should be very soon.
How soon?
How soon? Let's see. I'll put on a dress and wear makeup and lipstick if it's not inside the next month. And for when we do the next update video.
And when are we doing the next update video?
Sod it. Sometime before the end of September.
Right, okay.
But I'll do it in full-on drag. If we haven't gotten something out by then.
I don't think anyone wants to see that anyway.
No, but it's sort of to punish the rest of the team for not having.
Well, it's going to happen either way. Do you think there's
the full-on drag or the release?
Well, the release. Yeah, we're not going to let the drag happen. Do you think the release could be any sooner than that, or do you think that's when
it could definitely be sooner, but that's barring disasters happening along the way.
All right then, guys. This is Paul Mills, also known as Binarai. We have here David Owen Morris, also known as BigPiggy. And this has been the response video to all your questions that you've sent us over the last couple of weeks. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Keep the questions coming, and we can do this a bit more often.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Catch you later, guys.